Yeah, this is Point Izzy. Coming in hard and out the car. Coming with the blue street of the barrio. And coming with that heat from the motherfucking street. This is PBN, Point Black Bash, the dude, the lady, the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well. Because this is what and is the only thing to do. You know what I'm saying? We must always be vocals in our words and our conversation, being in our political arena at all times. There must be no one other than the people itself, not government, not oligarchs, not the military industrial complex, not any of these so-called philanthropists like Oprah Winfrey like to call herself with her negated fucking low-graded ass in Andy Fauci, Bill Gates, Soros, all them calling themselves philanthropists and no more than philanthropical criminals in all ways. They are here to destroy, destabilize, and corrupt and biologically fuck with us. And we are the innocents that sit amongst and have the power of the people in order to make the Constitution and any law-giving body that stands in itself of classified documents written by the so-called forefathers and them before them that drafted this document. Even though there is criminal writing or criminal writing into it, it's still the document. So all the document must do is straighten itself out. That's it. So we have to fight for that. And we know right now that we're facing many conditions, many things, and seeing a lot of bullshit and death. Like I said, they wheel, they deal, and steal. They wheel, they deal, they kill, bill, they destroy, kill, bill, you know what I'm saying, in the name of their so-called Lord. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at this from a brighter perspective, people, because we have the power to make the change. This is the power to the people that was always installed to the people who have the same power in the Constitution and the rights to straighten out your government or demolish the government and replace it with a government of great stature. Now we see today, Creep Joe Biden, in the same matter that we're speaking of, is set to endorse major changes to the Supreme Court, including terms limit for justices. Just off the top, this is by Zach, I think it's Lenny, it looked like Lenny or whatever, you know what I'm saying, 3 days ago, he had to chop up your name, you know what I'm saying, 3 days ago, coming off the News One. But in this matter, we see where the Creep Joe is trying to put term limits and all type of things on the Supreme Court. There should be no term limits on a Supreme Court justice. This is the reason why there must not be no limits, but there must be reform of the justice in their ethical oath of ethics based on their position as a Supreme Court nominee or judge or Supreme Court justice. You know what I'm saying? They must have some form of reform and the practice of each one of them, or each one being put there as a pawn on the chessboard with the black and white outfit or whatever robe they're wearing, you know what I'm saying, is basically put there to control the political scene from even the higher court. You know what I'm saying? That when the higher court makes a law, then the law stands. So now if you make a criminal or crooked or twisted law, then it will stand. This is something the Supreme Court justice must work on, because it's not showing the power of the people that is mentioned in the Constitution, who have just as much right as a governor, you know what I'm saying, to overthrow, or even a federal government to overthrow and protect the United States by all means. So when we have this term limit and all this different stuff that he's talking about, it isn't based on the term limit, it's based on the corruption inside the Supreme Court of the mind frame that be in the Supreme Court that are appointed by their so-called presidential candidate or president or whatever he is at the time, and putting them there and giving them the job. You know what I'm saying? Such as when Trump put Eileen Cannon there, we see the same thing. But we must recognize in all ways that whether we can do that or not, it should not have a political vow based on having to fight for the spot of putting your people there in order that this doesn't happen and they come through this at this time because their political affiliation is affiliated to that group or that group. That shouldn't be a Supreme Court. The Supreme Court should be almost in an independent, neutral zone, which means it's still the highest court on the land, but it's there for a reason that the fact in which they know that is if the federal government or let's say the president or whoever is a tyrant and he gets in office, such as what we see going on now with the trickery of righteous talk, but it really a lie, you know what I'm saying, and they get up in the office and they're doing bullshit and they're allowing this and they're using the Supreme Court to justify and solidify their rule and their fucking Gestapo rules. The court must be neutral from that to the point where if the argument comes in based on the understanding of what we know, that the people have the right to stand up for themselves and the right of life, liberty, and property, then the Supreme Court cannot have an affiliation to anyone other than the Supreme Court. And that's it. They should not be affiliated on Republican side, partisan side, independent side, demon democratical side, or any side. It should be a neutral court. And any justice that is, in my book, if I was a president, had any affiliation such as this and is discovered, you will be disbarred. You will be removed. The same way, and there would and your tenure would be in jeopardy. So we have to understand that the Supreme Court has a special job outside of anything, but the corruption that's inside is bullshit. Now we have Joe Biden even trying to put a Gestapo move, so when they pull their bullshit in the near future, you know what I'm saying, to probably enslave every nigga he could fucking, leave behind for his passing of the baton to them, to his other crooked cronies, you know what I'm saying? It says it appears that the president, Joe Biden, has finally come to a glory on the importance of making changes to the U.S. Supreme Court. There should be no changes to the Supreme Court other than reform. The reform must be in the form of forming out an independent understanding that the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land, and this is where it gets to. When it gets there, the highest justice must be delivered in its righteousness of wholeness, thereof calling itself the Supreme Court. So, you know what I'm saying? We're not leaning on any of this talking about making changes to the U.S. Supreme Court. Two members of the Joe Biden administration told Washington Post under the conditions of anonymity, you know what I'm saying, that the Biden Joe has is, finalizing plans to endorse, major changes to the Supreme Court in the coming weeks, including proposal for legislation to establish term limits for the justices and an enforceable ethic code, according to enforceable ethic code according to two people, briefed on this plan. Fuck your ethic code. The ethic code should be that you ain't appointing one of your people in there. See, he's trying to set up for the next clown that he figured gonna take the place later on. Maybe could even be, to the year from now, probably 4 years from now, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be down the line. And then by them having this ethical code that when people go to the court or whatever seems to go to the court, or the schematical bullshit will be blocked, you know what I'm saying, because the individual who will see the righteousness of it and probably say something about it, his affiliation or disagreement, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it is that they're putting on his back based on the ethical code, will have to remove themselves. So all will be left on there is a reappointment of their own tyrants in itself. So this is not a good plan, and nor should it go forward, and it should be knocked down. You know what I'm saying? If I was the president of the United States, create Joe Biden, no, if I was in office and had a right to speak on based on these issues, this is what I would present to him. He could say whatever the fuck he want to say, but in my book, respectively, I'm not going to, condone or even move with that without it being on a balanced understanding of that, not just putting it there, see fit when you choose to do so for your cronies after you're long gone. Wouldn't that be something? Term limits for the Supreme Court justice would mean all, you know what I'm saying? I guess they call it called Mud Johnny or whatever, regressives who wants to make America 1960s again by overturning every civil protection, imaginable, like Clarence Thomas, who took his seat on the court in 1991, will no longer enjoy the life appointments that allows them to enforce outdated and out of touch views permanently on the American populace, regardless of how unpopular those views are. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not it's old rhetoric from 19 this or 1960 or 19 that, you know what I'm saying? There could be, it doesn't have any justification on the base of them you talking about an individual. Second of all, it's a Supreme Court of more than one judge. That's number two. Number three, you shouldn't have anything talking about, enjoy the life appointment that allows them to enforce out of date laws. The out of date laws were put there as laws that are not outdated. They just need to be finalized in more ways than one. Just the same way you have a piece of wood and you decide that you're going to use that wood because you cut it, but the edges are rough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to sand the edges to make it smooth with sandpaper in order for it to have a smooth fit and a smooth look and a smooth finish altogether. This is something have to be done with the laws that you talking about, some 1960s and all type of bullshit to go garbage. So that's number one, a bullshit adjustment that he's making. After all, affirmative action in Roe versus Wade didn't get overturned because after the law, after being lawful for decades, after being some trickery, run around, instead of smoothing out the edges with some sandpaper, making sure that it fits just right, you fuck around and came with these different moves, and then later on using these moves also to manipulate as well to the wrong and the bullshit garbage in itself. And also, not just the Roe versus Wade based on a woman's right to choose, but Roe versus Wade based on the trickery that they use Roe versus Wade in order to attack a political opponent. This, in the Supreme Court, must not be taken in. The consideration of understanding the Roe versus Wade and a woman's right to choose is based on women and their right to choose in itself. Not using Roe versus Wade to sway the minds of the women against a political party based on the corruption of the demon democratical Luciferian Party. Let's move on. As we say, it didn't overturn because after the law, Justice miraculously found more hidden proceedings that made them unconstitutional. Unconstitutional, 3/5 of a human being for the black people, and they called this little shit you're swinging back and forth is unconstitutional. What's unconstitutional is you deeming the original man of the land, the black man, and the original woman of creation itself, and the black man of her love and creation in itself as well. You know what I'm saying? You seem to want to, demonize that in the Constitution as it is constitutional, when it's unconstitutional to do that, such as what you did with slavery, and you constituted that, you asshole. Such as what we see that Jack Cassiano is doing to Gazan people right now, thinking he has a constitutional, biblical, cracker-ass Bible You know what I'm saying? To do so. All right, now let's move on. We see they got overturned for the same reasons. The conservative dominated the Supreme Court, dominated the Supreme Court has been uphold racist congress has uphold the racist congressional maps that initially, you know, uh, diluted black voting power. You know what I'm saying? Black voting power, from what they're trying to say in this matter. No, it did not dilute black voting power because the demon Democrats used the black voting power. You trickery motherfucking talking switchy shit ass use black votes to stay in that in that seat, you know what I'm saying, for over 47 years, and even prior along the years before that, to out of the 47 put it together, you probably got 280 years. You're a garbage piece of shit. You have used the black people vote to the demon Democrats to stay in that power seat. You know what I'm saying? Now you're talking about it dilutes the vote and this and that because old white people, listen to this, old white people with old white values, and yes, that includes Thomas, had a majority and a mega momentum to make it happen. That's a lie, bullshit, and wordplay. Whether it is or it isn't, it still come out to the to the wood that's cut with rough edges after it's been cut in the directional that it needs to fit in like a puzzle. Yeah, and it doesn't fit because it has splinters and everything from the machine that cut it. You know what I'm saying? You have to get the sandpaper and different things and sand it and make it smooth. So we have to work on all that he is talking about. The higher court in the country needs political balance. The political balance that you're talking about, the Supreme Court does not need political balance, you asshole. Fuck is you talking about? The Supreme Court don't need no political, it should not have any political value or political affiliation or political taking of sides. Because the Supreme Court is a balanced scale of justice, not one-sided. So for you to say that it needs political balance, and that political and that, and I'm saying political balance, and that balance would be more, you know what I'm saying, attainable if we don't basically have to wait for the justice to die to make decisions to retire before they can be replaced. You know what I'm saying? You're waiting for them to make what decision? Anytime the 12 judges or whatever you have up there cannot make the decision, or one in the group cannot make the decision, and you're waiting on this decision based on the vote or whatever you're waiting for, then the vote must go up again so it be reconsidered under the 11th. If one has a political value and see corruption and garbage, and you're doing trash to the people of the United States, and he decides that he's not going to go along with it, and he's going on, and you got to wait for him to retire so you can do your garbage that you do, then that doesn't speak for much. Do it. You know what I'm saying? So basically, you want to be able to make any laws and anything and do anything to anybody, and then think that it's just going to slide because you have the Supreme Court and you remove one saying that his vote is no longer good, or his justice is no longer good, based on the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you're waiting for him to die. What kind of fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Creep Joe Biden, who is who is the so-called former chair of Senate Judiciary Committee, like his fucking brains, you know what I'm saying, it's also reportedly mulling over a constitutional amendment to eliminate broad immunity for presidential and other constitutional uh, 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 office holders. That's bullshit. Because what I just read should apply to the Democratic Party all across the board, and it damn sure should apply to Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bush Jr., Bush father, and many other presidents, including Creep Joe Brokeback Bitch Biden. You know what I'm saying? And Kamala, with her fine self, rise. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, You know what I'm saying? When we look at the situation, then what I just read should apply to them. The president and other constitutional holders, which is obviously a response to the Supreme Court recent ruling of Donald Trump immunity. Why would you remove the presidential immunity when your punk fucking idiot ass should be prosecuted without any immunity, but you know full well your broke back bitch ass, just like your son, is going to get the immunity, and your son shouldn't be under any kind of group of immunity, you know what I'm saying, at all. You know what I'm saying? At all. So you in itself, you know what I'm saying, accuse your son from the prosecution and water it down to next to nothing that we don't hear shit about. The criminal shit he did over there in Ukraine that now getting millions of people over there killed and murdered from crackhead and your decisions of NATO and all the old crackhead motherfuckers you call the criminal organization called NATO. You know what I'm saying? And then you're talking about immunity based on the fact that you want to be able to remove immunity because he got immunity and the Constitution speaks of the immunity in itself. So that means that you want to change the laws in the Constitution. You understand how these demon Democrats think? You know what I'm saying? You want to change it in the Constitution because you have ramped up a campaign even before this man was a president. You know what I'm saying? And it could have been anybody else where you simply just ramped up a campaign because you knew well he probably have a lot of shit on you and many other people that may be working on his side, you know what I'm saying, to remove your asses and expose the criminal bloodletting and motherfucking bullshit, blood sacrifice and pedophilia all across the motherfucking board, including sex trafficking and drug trafficking as well as biological trafficking. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of criminal shit that y'all are doing that, you know what I'm saying, you scared that he's going to come in here and bust your fucking head wide open. So you want to be able to remove their immunity so when you decide to take office again and somebody bump your ass around or bump you out and get 4 years and then you do the same thing you're doing to Donald Trump right now, you know what I'm saying? And put all kind of criminal charges on him that really don't make no fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? He should not have to go to the immunity to need that to block your stupid asses. You know what I'm saying? You want to remove it so when that happens, you could criminally prosecute and put the president of the United States in jail under your criminal fucking crackhead, oligarch, deep state bullshit within our government bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about Donald Trump has recent ruling over Donald Trump has presumptive immunity for the acts he performed while he was. He said, what the fuck about creep Joe Biden and the demon Democrats and many of y'all motherfuckers, including Ayana Omar, see, creepy ass motherfucking Hillary Clinton, you know what I'm saying? Or they killing everybody, you know what I'm saying? Every time they have something to say about her, they winds up dead. And many other y'all cluckhead motherfuckers, like Obama, you know what I'm saying? And all the rest of y'all fucking idiot motherfuckers. You either get on board, or what Trump should have said is y'all either get on board or get the fuck out. Because we're tired of playing with you. And definitely, if you do this type of criminal shit that you all have done throughout the 47 years or better, including what we saw in your trumped up pandemic, you know what I'm saying, motherfucker, you should have been long time removed. But you notice whenever you mention anything about the pandemic or anything to do with that, they always censor your comments saying that you violated the World Health Organization, the NHS, and many other organizations in which Bill Gates, Linda Gates, and all them motherfuckers have bought stocks and have majority of the stocks and ownership of the CDC, the World Health Organization, in many of our medical situations. So where he comes up, the only one can come up with a solution based on what we saw him talking about. He had boxes and boxes of the WAP, you know what I'm saying? So we know full well that what is he doing, just like Soros in our government, just like Oprah Winfrey going across our shit, you know what I'm saying, all three idiots and many others, including Antifa Party, the blood-sucking motherfucking biological motherfucking mad Dr. Weasel, and many other. Now I've even seen a report where he's even talking about some old bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, the immunity must stand and it must stay. It must never be removed. You know what I'm saying? for acts to perform, the acts perform that you perform, you and your son and your family should be in jail, along with Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bush Donkey Jr., his father, and many other presidents before them. So don't come with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? For while the acts performed while he was in the sitting president, which was obviously a response to the commander in 34 felony drawn in legal book. That's garbage. 34 felonies of pure shit. Of documents in which you and your son had in a garage you claim in the back of your Corvette. You know what I'm saying? And you talking about immunity and you declassified it. I could take the document, but they wasn't good for Trump though. But at the same time, your son is over there doing foreign affairs in Ukraine with Russian oligarchs and different people who over there scheming and demon in order to crack a bid. What we see is going on right now. Meanwhile, millions of our dollars in the meantime, while you do your cracker barrel shit, you know what I'm saying, is going out the fucking door rather than into the economy, rebuilding this country, looking out for the farmers who provide agricultural food by the millions, you know what I'm saying, including that goes for produce as well, you know what I'm saying, and many other things, you know what I'm saying, and can provide us with many herbal medicines as well, grown naturally. And the veterans and many of the homeless people of the United States, instead of helping them, you're taking their money, but you're using the tax and the deficit to stay blown wide open while you suck out the cash out of these people's pockets, but you keep the prices high. You make the GOP, all these different things, and all the gas and all the food and all of this and this shit real up high so you can extract every day per second or microsecond, billions and zillions of people money, you know what I'm saying, from taxes, just even in the store. So you do some criminal crooked shit and you want us to pay the ticket for it. You're full of fuck. So you should have been removed because it's not based on immunity, based on the fact that the immunity stands in the Constitution alone. The immunity goes to court and is argued in the basis of what the trueness of your crimes or what you see the crimes are. Donald Trump crimes are not criminally done to be talking about he did not deserve immunity. You're full of fuck. You know what I'm saying? Even though he still was a standing president. And to me, he's a president right now. But to keep Joe Biden, the immunity must be debated and the criminal charge of his crimes must be exposed. I am going to need, and all the rest that I mentioned. And then he said, I'm going to need your help on the Supreme Court because I am about to come out. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, prematurely announce it, but I am about to come out with a major initiative on limiting court judges. No, you're about to let the oligarchs and all the people that's within the deep state and all them motherfuckers who have you like a puppet and a jackass which I'm not surprised that Obama put you as a vice president at all. When he did that, I said, well, fuck, here go the country. You know what I'm saying? When you put these two assholes in there, you think I cared about Obama talking about he's a black president? Motherfucker, I ain't want to hear that motherfucking bullshit. I don't give a flying fuck if he was the first corporate, you know what I'm saying, Luciferian, LGBTQ woke ass, you know what I'm saying, for the deep state oligarchs and the rest of them, president. And he was born black, full black. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. Because I don't go off of emotion and your fucking astronomy or astrologically or whatever, you know, talking about zodiacs and all these different things. You're reading from space and you're using all these spells and shit. I don't go by that shit. I go by the fact that actions speak louder than motherfucking words. And until you prove to me that you have done what you're supposed to do based on your position and not the corruption and garbage in which you have been protecting in your party and before and still is to this day all across the land, including the world as a global aspect, you have no merit in my book. That's why if I was the president of the United States, I bet you the money bet they'll do me probably worse than they did trying to do Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because they know full well that I will not be playing. you're going to get this country right. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because I love you, baby. And if I was the president and I was to do what I'm supposed to do and be able to do it without being assassinated, killed by the oligarchs, the deep state, the military complex, and CIA, and the FBI, and every other motherfucker you could think of, including Russians, probably even people over in cartels and everything trying to assassinate me, and everything goes according, I would crush all of them all together. Because when I look out my door at the common world, I want to see it flowing as it's supposed to. I want to look out my door as a president and don't see homelessness at an alarming beat. I want to look out my door and know that my borders are secure. I want to look out my door and know that the people of the United States are living the best that they could ever live in this life. So this bullshit Gestapo move that Joe Biden is doing with the Supreme Court is not the right method or the right strategy or the right approach. That is not how you reform a Supreme Court. So this is Point Blank saying, think about it. And I'm going to be back with another one before we are done here. One.